Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gentle Yoga, a wind down practice for the end of your day. Go ahead and find a comfortable position on the floor. We're going to lie down. And I like to use a tennis ball in my gentle wind down classes. It just um, helps me get to some target areas that I'm sure you'll like to get to too. So go ahead and lie back, make yourself comfortable. You can walk your legs apart, let your hands and arms release further out to your side. And you're just winding down the body here already. Actually, you're releasing as many of the body's tissues as you can using your mind, asking places in the body that are tight to release, giving them permission. Kind of nice to think about it that way. And that might include some moving around, some adjusting. And we'll close down our eyes. Let's begin to take some deeper breaths, drawing the breath in through the nose and then back out through the nose if possible. Letting our tongue relax in our mouth, letting our jaw relax, our forehead. See if you can release the concerned look on your face. I know I seem to always have that, just a little wrinkles in the brow. We can take this moment to pull our awareness inside so that we really are just paying attention to the softer tissues inside of us, within our skin. Let's take a couple more breaths, just letting them be smooth, even. And then let's move into belly breathing today. In belly breathing, we want to soften our stomach, filling our belly with air, just drawing the air down to the navel, and then exhaling, tightening the core here, drawing the navel in towards the spine. And go ahead and alternate with your inhales and exhales. Sort of breathing at your pace with these larger belly breaths. These are also called diaphragmatic breaths. And they really involve the whole torso. And we're going to add a little piece here in addition to really feeling the ballooning of the abdomen on the inhale and the deflating on the exhale. I'd like you to see if you can imagine your energy moving from your navel to your throat on the inhale and from your throat to your navel on the exhale. Imagining your energy moving from your navel to your throat with each inhale and from your throat to your navel with each exhale. Just something a little bit extra to focus the mind on. Hopefully your mind is nice and quiet here. Let's now set the belly breathing aside. Release and control of the breath. Let it take its own course, make its own map. And next, let's begin to wiggle our fingers. wiggling them wherever they lie on the floor or on our torso. And then start wiggling your toes. Take a deeper breath in. And with wiggling toes and fingers, sigh your breath out. Good. From here, let's walk both feet up onto the floor. We'll bend the knees, press the soles of the feet into our mats, hip distance apart. And let's start some pelvic tilting. So think of your pelvis here lying on the floor. Your sacrum is the flat bone that is right behind your hips, opposite of your lower abdomen. And then what we'll do is we'll draw our tailbone up so that our middle back presses into the floor, the lumbar part of the back. And then we'll lift the lumbar part of the back and we'll curl or curve rather the tailbone back down. And we'll just go back and forth. So this is a very small movement. You might not even be able to look in a mirror and see that you're moving, but your pelvis is indeed shifting back and forth. You're kind of arching your back and then rounding it. Being careful not to lift your sacrum up off the floor, not pushing too hard on both feet. Just feeling this way here. We'll come to neutral with our pelvis and let's release both knees over to the right on an exhale. Let's inhale the knees back to center. We'll exhale the knees down to the left. And let's keep going at our own breath pace. Letting the knees sway from side to side. And the next time your knees are back in the center, take a breath here. Feet still pressing into the floor. Let's move the blanket or towel that we may have placed or any prop behind your head. Hopefully it's no higher than a blanket or a folded up towel. And we'll bring our head all the way down to the mat. We'll draw our arms right alongside our body, elbows kind of tucked into our waist, hands, palms down on the surface of the mat right next to our hips. Let's inhale, peeling the hips up off the mat by pressing down on the hands, feet, arms, and then exhaling to lower the hips. Each inhale lifts the hips and the spine comes along with it. And then we'll lower the hips. Try to keep this all in the hands and feet and not in the spine. In other words, we're not curving the spine or arching the spine during any movement. The spine is in a neutral position. So is the pelvis, actually. We're just lifting and lowering the hips. Lifting on an inhale, lowering on an exhale. Keep moving at your pace with your breath. Nice stretch, friend. Next time your hips are down on the floor, release your back, straighten your legs, and just let your feet kind of rotate from left to right, little windshield wipers with the feet here. Legs are extended. Maybe your knees aren't all the way straight here. Maybe they are. We'll bring our feet to stillness. Let's bend up through our right knee, coming into wind relieving pose. Wrap your arms around this leg and draw this whole leg in towards your body. Maybe you'd like to use a strap and let the ends of the middle of the strap pull your legs in, holding on to the ends. Maybe your hands will do, your arms. And let's start to wiggle our toes here and point and flex our foot. Take a few more breaths here. Let's go ahead and start pressing through our left heel. That leg is just lying along the floor, but we're going to press through the heel to engage the muscles. Now let's bring our right foot to stillness. Inhale to lift the foot up into the air. Support this leg with your hands. Continue to wiggle your toes, point and flex your foot, maybe do some circles. Supporting your leg as much or as little as you'd like. Keeping the heel relatively placed on top of the hip, basically. Now bring your hands alongside of your legs, let them hover there, and we'll inhale to peel our head, neck, and chest up off the mat, coming into spider. We're going to reach our fingertips towards our ankle, our lower leg, our foot. We're going to hold here, using our abdominal muscles to help us reach towards this foot. Exhale, releasing your hands, head, and neck first. Then let the foot start to float down. The knee bends, and we'll release that right leg. We'll lengthen it next to the left. Let's take a full body stretch here, inhaling our arms and hands up and back. Stretching the legs, stretching the arms, pointing and flexing the feet, maybe opening and closing the palms, the hands. Maybe your arms are in a V, maybe they're right by your ears, doesn't matter. Let the next exhale bring your arms back down alongside your body, and we'll bend our left knee, drawing it into the chest. That right leg can stay lengthened on the floor. You can bend up through that knee too, placing the right foot on the mat if that's more comfortable. Wind relieving pose on the left here. Let's hold this leg in. Let's start to wiggle the toes, pointing and flexing the foot, rolling the ankle. Then we'll bring our foot to stillness. And we'll inhale to lift the left leg. The left foot comes into the air, reaching the sole towards the ceiling. Let's press through the right leg here, making that leg active, even though it's lying alongside of the floor. We can support our leg here. Maybe wiggle a little more, point and flex, roll the ankle. And then we'll come into spider. We peel our head, neck, and chest on the inhale, lifting our arms up, reaching towards the bottom of the leg and foot, holding here for a few breaths, releasing as you're ready, kind of giving yourself the practice you'd like to give yourself today. Hands float down, foot floats down, and we'll straighten that left leg along the right leg. Let's take another full body stretch. Arms on the inhale, up and back. Stretch any way you'd like to here. Maybe you cross your ankles side to side. Maybe you interlace your hands above you. Take 2 more breaths in this stretching shape. And then release your hands right down next to you. And we're going to roll over onto whatever side faces your screen. Let's release our arm up, kind of right by our ear. If you'd like, you can bring your folded blanket towards you here, and then release the arm up and over. Make yourself comfortable. And you're really balancing yourself here on your side, stacked hips and stacked shoulders. And we'll lay our head down alongside this arm so that our ear is right by our bicep. And then what we'll do from there is we're going to move our hip forward and our shoulder back on an inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to move our hip back and our shoulder forward. So we'll inhale, hip forward, shoulder back. Exhale, shoulder forward, hip back. Keep moving this direction. Inhaling, hip forward, shoulder back. Exhale, hip back, shoulder forward. One more here. And then bring your hip and your shoulder back to center. Let's bend up a little bit more through our knees here, bringing our knees almost even with our hips. The feet can be sort of down more below the knees than below the hips. From here, let's get our hip to move towards the shoulder, and the shoulder moves towards the hip on the exhale. On the inhale, we're going to go the opposite. Our lower hip and shoulder are going to come together, and on the inhale, they'll come back into neutral. Let's do this a few more times with cues. This time we will exhale, hip moves towards shoulder, shoulder moves down toward hips. Inhale, hip and shoulder move together below you. Exhale, bring it to neutral. Inhale, the top of you comes together, shoulder and hip. Exhale, underneath comes together, shoulder and hip. Let's come to neutral here. Maybe relax the head just a little bit. And from here, let's begin clamshell, opening the knees away from each other, keeping our feet together. So we'll inhale to lift our knee up, top knee lifts up. Exhale, lowers that leg and knee. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. A couple more at your own pace. This time, keep your knees together and lift your top foot. So on the next inhale, we'll lift just the top foot. Exhale, lowers it. A few more at your own pace. Inhaling to lift, exhaling to lower. These movements on our side are called somatic exercises. They're meant to be done slowly. They're there to help you move in by moving in basic ways, help rewire your brain. All right. So next, we're going to take this top leg. We're still laying on the same side. We're going to exhale, draw our knee to our chest. Inhale, press that top leg foot away from you, down towards the bottom of your mat. Inhale, and then exhale. You can switch up the breath if you'd like, or continue doing whichever way makes you most comfortable. These are called lateral tiger stretches. One more, and then release and stack your knees, your ankles. Let's take our tennis ball. We're going to roll onto our backs, and whatever side was just below us, we're going to take our tennis ball and we're going to place it back behind our hip, kind of in this little divot between the ball and hip part of your joint, part of your skeletal system, and your tailbone. So we want to go somewhere in between there. We're going to lie back with the tennis ball underneath us. And if as we start to lower this hip down, if we start to feel something that's uncomfortable, we can move the ball a little bit. Likewise, if we feel that the spot is targeting right where we have some tissue that needs to release and relax, you can set the ball there. So find what works for you, and then see if you can keep the opposite knee bent, foot on the floor, same leg as the ball is extended. And we're just kind of trying to drape our body over this tennis ball for a few more breaths. As you take your next inhale, go ahead and shift your body so that you can still face your screen in case you need to look. If you'd rather go by my cues, that's kind of another nice way to sort of lose yourself in your yoga class by just listening to the cues, trying not to watch. So we'll go ahead and come on to the opposite side. So the side that's on the floor was the side that was up above last time. We're going to lay our ear right alongside our bicep here. And we're going to start same way we did before. So we're going to exhale and move our hip forward and our shoulder back. Inhale, hip back, shoulder forward. Come back to center. Hip forward, shoulder back as you inhale. And we'll switch it up opposite. Shoulder forward, hip back as you exhale. Inhale. You're trying to stay on your side, but you're definitely shifting the top knee maybe a little forward, and then the top shoulder. Nice. Let's come back to center here. Now, on this move, we'll exhale. We want to move our shoulder towards our hip towards our shoulder. So we're kind of jutting the under part of us here towards the floor. And then inhale, we're going to lift the middle part of the body to bring the lower hip and shoulder together. Exhale. Sorry, I moved my head. It's really not a head movement. And then inhale, picking up the middle of the spine. Exhale, pressing the middle of the spine into the floor. Inhale, lifting it away from the floor. Bring your spine now to neutral. And we'll begin to open our knees, keeping our feet together each inhale, lowering the knee with each exhale. Arm just stays at your side, or maybe it's right here in front of you to help you balance. And again, we're moving very slow here. Now let's keep our knees together, and on the inhale, lift just the foot. Try to keep your toes and heel even. And we're inhaling to lift, exhaling to lower. Next time your feet are together, go ahead and leave them there. Next, we're going to exhale to bring our knee into our chest. We're going to inhale to push it away. Exhale to bring it in. Inhale to push it away. Exhale here and then inhale to bring it in. Exhale to push it away. See what you like better. I think there's reasons to do both. depending on what sensations you'd like to feel. And then rest your knee right on top of the one underneath. We'll roll back onto both hips, and we'll take that top leg and we'll release the ball underneath the hip, the opposite hip. Putting it right in that same spot, releasing yourself onto the ball, the leg with the ball underneath is extended and the opposite knee is bent. Just allowing the ball to get into those tissues with the leg in a neutral position. Take a few more breaths. As you're ready, roll off the ball or lift the hip to remove the ball from underneath you. And let's roll over onto one side and we'll press up away from the floor. We'll come briefly into a seated position, legs in whatever comfortable shape you'd like them to be in. Sitting up nice and tall, let's take a few sun breaths here. Inhaling to lift our arms. Reaching the fingers to the sky, hands come together, exhale to heart center. Take a couple more. Sun breaths moving at your body's own pace. Nice. Next, let's make our way to table. Coming on all fours. Let's begin with some cat-cows. Rounding the spine, chin tucks, tailbone tucks as well. And then release your navel, bring your spine to neutral. Keep releasing your navel to the floor, tailbone and head lift slightly. And keep going back and forth. You can move your breath in any way you'd like. Just slowing it down. Connecting it to your movements. Let's bring our spine to neutral and we'll come all the way up to standing in whatever way is most comfortable and safe for each of us. And when you're standing, go ahead and find your mountain pose. Feet hip distance apart, hips stacked on top of ankles, and shoulders stacked on top of hips. Let's take a few sun breaths standing here in our mountain. So we're keeping our upper body, or trunk really, and our legs rather, in one spot, and we're moving our arms as we inhale, they lift. As we exhale, we turn our palms, they lower. So start when you're ready. Letting your hands float in the air, just bringing your arms right along with them. One more. And then we'll release our arms back down by our side. So in an effort to shake things up, I'm going to take a sun salutation that's written and designed for a chair position, and I'm going to flip it on its end and use it in standing. If you're more comfortable sitting in a chair, we're going to at one point bring our knee into our chest from a standing position. It's a very challenging way to move your body side to side and keep your balance. So a chair next to you or moving to a wall will help you be able to grab onto that if you need to, or stay holding onto it if you need to as well. So with that said, from your mountain pose, let's inhale our arms up in a sun breath. Exhale, hands come down to heart. Nice. Start there. I kind of like starting each vinyasa flow with bringing our hands to our heart center. Next inhale lifts the arms up into a V. Good. Next exhale, hands and arms come into cactus arms. Inhale will come into cow. So we'll inhale, send our hands back, open our chest, lift our chin. Exhale, we'll draw our hands together, round our shoulders, drop our chin. Inhale, look straight ahead and keep your hands and arms lifted, but bring the hands away from each other, about shoulder distance. Good. Exhale, we're going to come into a forward fold with these robot arms. So exhale, nose dive, forward fold. Keep your back flat, and then go ahead and round it at the end as you sink your head and hands down towards the floor, towards your feet. Inhale, come up halfway, straighten your knees, hands come to the legs somewhere. Exhale, release and fold over forward once again. Inhale, we're going to come up to standing with those robot arms, pressing down through the feet, lifting up through the torso. We'll come back to that kind of robot arms out in front of us. As we exhale next, here's where we go on one foot. We'll bring one knee into the chest. Inhale to return that foot to the floor. Hands come straight out. Exhale, opposite knee to the chest. Inhale back. Exhale, we're going to drop one arm by our side. Inhale to lift it up and back to twist. And then come back as we exhale and inhale forward. Let's exhale to twist to one side, picking up the speed. Inhale, coming back to center. Arms come up to a V over your head, and exhale the hands back down to the heart. All right, let's try that again. A couple more times. Inhaling the arms out and up. Exhale, palms together at the heart. Inhale, arms lift in a V. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, looking forward, arms at shoulder height. Exhale, we'll come into a nose dive forward fold, flat back. Let the head go, let the hands go. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, release into the forward fold again. Inhale, robot arms standing, arms out in front. Exhale, one knee comes to the chest. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, opposite knee to the chest. Inhale, back to neutral. Exhale, arm twists back. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, opposite. Inhale, coming forward. Arms come up over the head. Exhale, hands come to the heart. Inhale the arms up. Exhale to heart. Inhale V. Exhale cactus. Inhale cow. Exhale cat. Inhale mountain, arms up. Exhale forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, forward fold again. Inhale, come up to standing mountain, arms up. Exhale, knee into chest. Inhale, arms out. Exhale, knee into chest. Inhale, arms out, foot down. Exhale, come into the twist. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist to the opposite side. Inhale, back to center. Arms come up overhead. Exhale, hands come down to the heart. Take a breath or two here. And then let's go to the top of the mat. We're going to use the same sort of movement of drawing one knee into the chest. Let's go to the right leg here first. So we'll step into that left foot and leg. Inhale, the right knee lifts hip height. Exhale, we'll step the right foot back, pointing our toes to the long edge of the mat. Pressing the feet into the floor. Here, bending the forward knee, resting that knee right on top of the heel, stretching the legs, feeling your strength here. Maybe inhaling your hands to your hips or waist, maybe inhaling the arms to parallel. And breathing, try to lift your head towards the ceiling. Exhale, let's release the back hand, and inhale, we'll flip, lifting that left arm and hand towards the ceiling. Exhale, windmill your arms, come into extended side angle, forearm on the thigh. Now we'll straighten the knee, lift the top hand straight over the shoulder, straighten the bottom hand in triangle. Pressing down on the feet, lifting up through the torso. On an inhale, come into your reverse triangle. And then exhale, releases that left hand. We'll pick up the left toes, rotate on the heel to bring all 10 forward. And we're here in this wide angle. We can use our blocks if we'd like, placing one down right in the center. From here, we'll inhale our arms out and up. Exhale, nosedive, forward fold. Bend your upper body forward. Reach your hands down. Hold on to a block for stability. Maybe use a chair or the couch that's by you. And from here, let's take turns bending one knee, sending the hips right over that knee or towards that knee, keeping the opposite leg extended. And let's go from side to side. You can walk your hands underneath you if you need to. Just kind of let them slide or walk across your mat. And we'll stretch the inside of our legs here. We'll bring our hips back to center. Toes are still in line with our heels. We'll come up to a standing position by inhaling, pressing down through the feet. Flat back, lifting up, arms come up overhead, palms come together, and we'll exhale our hands to our heart. Let's heel toe our feet together, or step our feet together. And then we'll go to the opposite end of our mat. This time, we'll lean into the right leg. Inhale to lift the left knee up towards that hip. Then stepping the left foot back, turning the toes to come into our warrior two position. On this mat, I have to be careful not to go too far forward so I can hook my feet onto these little traction points on my mat. So with strong legs, that right knee right on top of the heel. We'll float the arms to any height, maybe looking out over the front arm. Take a breath or two here, solid in our stance, Solid legs. Maybe they're shaking. That's okay. Exhale, the back arm goes down. Inhale, flip the front hand, and we'll reach and lift for a reverse warrior. Exhale, we'll come into extended side angle. Right arm lowers onto the thigh. Left arm comes up and over as close to the ear as possible. Now we'll come into triangle, unbending the knee and elbow that's low underneath you, and then we'll lift the hand from right by the ear to straight up and down. We want all of our arm components to be stacked. Inhale, press down through the feet, strong in the core, windmill the arms, come into your reverse triangle. Exhale, releases that right hand down. The toes on the right pivot on the heel. We'll point all 10 toes forward. From our wide angle stance here, let's inhale the arms out and up. Exhale, nose dive, forward fold. Bend your knees and elbows. Release your head and hands to the floor. Press down through your feet. Lift your hips towards the ceiling and let your head release towards your mat. Feel the nice stretch here. And now we'll begin to do the same side lunges. We'll release one knee, the hip lowers towards that leg. And we'll go back and forth, getting a nice stretch in the inner thigh, side to side. Strengthening our upper and lower body in these movements. Let's come back to center. Pressing down through our feet, we'll lift up through the torso, flat back, just like if our legs were together. Arms come up overhead, hands come together, and as we exhale, we'll bring our thumbs right in front of our sternum. Let's heel toe, the feet and legs a little bit closer together. Heels are a little more than hip distance apart, and toes are out even wider. Let's inhale the arms up. Breathing in, exhale, nose dive, forward fold. We're going to reach our head and our hands down towards the mat once again. And from here, we will begin to come into a squat. So press into your feet, start to bend your knees, release your hips towards the floor. Use a block to help support you right here in front of you. I've got my hands on the block. And then go ahead and straighten the knees, lift the hips, come back into that forward fold. So we're going back and forth from a squat to a forward fold. You may not be able to come all the way to standing, or you may not be able to go all the way down into the squat, but you can do the parts of the stretch that you're able to do without any pain. All right. Now, while we're in this forward fold, can you heel toe your feet back under you, hip distance apart? And on the next inhale, we'll come up to standing, pressing down through the feet, lifting up through the torso, arms up overhead, hands come together, and we'll exhale. The hands come down to the heart. Let's work on a little balance pose here before we start our cool down. So find your mountain. Spend some time pressing into all parts of your legs and, your feet rather, and setting up your legs so that they're helping to support you from the feet up to the hips. And what we'll do is come into stork by bending. Let's start with the right knee. I'll mirror you. We're lifting the right heel and we'll toe tap. I like to have people toe tap. While you're toe tapping, you're fixing, repositioning. Maybe it's perfect the way it was from the beginning, but you're enabling this leg to hold you while you lift the opposite knee. Let's point those toes on the lifted leg and not lift the knee any higher than the hip and not lift the hip of the lifted leg any higher than the opposite hip. So we're pointing the toes. Let's add the arms. Elbows are below our shoulders, wrists are above. We're going to point our fingers down, bring the fingers and the thumb together. And if you'd like, you can give a little kick or two and let your body feel that extension. You can release, you can come back into stork, try another kick if you'd like. All part of strengthening the legs, strengthening the hips, allowing your bones to keep remodeling them in a really strong way. Come back to your mountain pose. And let's move to stork on the opposite side. So this time we bend the left knee, lift the left heel. We'll try a few toe taps, getting our standing leg into the assignment, right? Not to say we have to do this. And then pointing the toes, adding the arms, the fingers, maybe the kick. Finding the part of each pose that feels comfortable for you and it feels like you're moving forward with your strength, your flexibility, your balance, or you're maintaining. That's a legit way to look at things too. Let's do some arm swings to kind of twist our spine. We're going to pick up our back heel as much as we can to just allow the heaviness of our hands side to side to guide our torso and give our spine a nice twist in each direction without it being too much. That lifted heel is very important in the back. We'll come back to center and let's make our way down to our mat. We'll sink our hips down to the floor and we'll come all the way down into more of a supine position through boat. So first we'll sit up nice and tall. Knees are bent, they're about hip distance apart. Feet are in front of us, so that maybe the same distance between the middle of your foot and your knee is the same distance between your knee and the middle of your hips. Let's lean back and sort of hold on to our legs underneath our thighs. Okay, maybe your hands are right by your knees, maybe they're a little lower, it doesn't matter. See if you can stay here and notice how your abdominal muscles are coming on board. They're starting to clench and hold you here. And that's what we want to be able to feel. If you're comfortable, let's see if we can inhale to lift one foot up. The heel comes up to knee height. And then exhale to lower. Inhale, let the opposite foot come up. Exhale to lower. Let's switch sides. Moving with our inhales, alternating as we lift each foot, pressing through the heel, and then lower. If you'd like, you can try to lift both legs, or you can keep alternating one leg then the other. Let yourself slowly release your body towards the floor, straightening your arms, straightening your legs, letting your back, shoulders, and head float down to the mat. Feet float down to the mat. Excellent. From here, let's do a couple of windshield wipers. Side to side. And let's let our head go opposite of our knees. We'll inhale to lift our knees. Our head comes back to center. Exhale, lower your knees. Head turns in the opposite direction. Inhale, come back to center. And let's grab one block and our tennis ball. What we'll do is place the block right behind our head so that as we lay down, the block's going to hold and support the part of the skull that comes out or sticks out behind you. And then the ball is going to go in between the block and your head, and it's going to be right in the center, right under the bony part in the middle where you can start to feel some of your tendons kind of running down the back of your neck. Place the block there, excuse me, the ball there. Place the block on your mat and see if it feels okay to release your head onto the ball with the ball right in the center, kind of directly on your brainstem ish. Well, it's protected through different tissues, but if this puts your neck and your cervical part of your spine in a compromising spot, take the block out, see how that feels for you. And let's take a few breaths here. Some people like to start to draw circles with their nose. Kind of let this ball kind of roll back behind you, maybe roll over to some certain areas. You might move your head left to right or up and down. Think of moving your nose maybe either up or down or left to right. And how that might release some of the tissues in the back of the head. Just another somatic exercise, really tailored to relax, help you regulate your nervous system. Take a few more breaths, either in stillness or in movement. And then as you're ready, go ahead and lift your head, release the block, the ball. And we will, from here, come into a twist. So let's bend up through both knees. Let's let both of our knees float over to the left side of the mat, and we'll stack our right leg on top of the left. Maybe the feet are together, the knees are not. You can take a block and put them in between the knees, giving yourself just a little bit of cushion so bone doesn't hit bone. And if you'd like, you can place the blanket back behind your head. And let's inhale our arms out wide like wings. Let's rotate our palms down towards the floor. And if it feels good, begin to rock your head from left to right. Maybe attach the movement to your breath. Take a couple more breaths. Maybe still your head, looking one direction or the other. Maybe your eyes are closed already. On the next inhale, let's move everything back to center. And this time the knees float over to the right. The left leg stacks on top of the right. We'll keep our left foot on top of the right, and we can put a block in between our legs. Inhale, both arms out wide like wings. And let's start to rock the head from left to right. Take a few breaths here. Releasing into this twist, maybe finding some stillness. And then we'll, on the next inhale, bring everything back to center. And let's get settled into our final Shavasana shape. Either lying in corpse pose, feet out to the side, or we'll bend up through each knee, walk the feet out wide, come into constructive rest pose. Arms at your side, palms face up or face down, eyes gently closed. Relaxing the whole body. Letting the whole body release towards the floor. Paying attention to your breath, staying aware of it, keeping it as the focal point. Slowing the breath down. Evening it out, softening it. Feel your body releasing and relaxing more and more. As you're ready, begin to rock your head, just your head, left and right. Moving quite slowly still. Just starting with this tiny movement. The next time your chin goes over your sternum once again, let's roll onto one side. Let's press ourselves up to a seated position away from the mat. Bring the legs into any comfortable shape. We'll release our arms down by our side. And on your next inhale, let's let a sun breath lift our arms up towards the sky. Exhale, hands come together. Thumbs release down to the heart. Nice. Let's close down the eyes and let the next exhale release our chin to our chest as we bow to the divine that's found inside of each one of us. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Let your next inhale lift your chin, flutter open your eyes, and thank you all so much for joining me today. I appreciate your participation. I hope you had a nice practice. Stretch does too, and we will see you next week. Take care.